Your desk setup is probably one of the more personal things you own. Think about it. Nobody else sits here. This is kind of your spot, but also at the same time, I feel like getting inspiration from other people's setups is a huge thing. I do it all the time. So after going through many desk setups over the years, this one behind me has quickly become one of my favorites, and I wanted to share it with you guys in case you could get any inspiration from it, or just kind of wanted to escape from the world for the next however long this video is. Now, every good desk setup starts with a good foundation, and you're in for a treat because we have something extremely custom for you today. You've probably never heard of it. It's a Home Depot butcher block on Alex drawers. I know, revolutionary stuff, but honestly, it just works really well. First of all, the tabletop is 6 feet wide, so you have plenty of space, but more importantly, it's 25 inches deep, which is just... There are so many desks out there that are the perfect width, but are insanely deep for no reason, in my opinion. So I've been rocking this setup for a couple of years now, and I don't plan on changing it anytime soon. The only downside is while the Alex drawers are great for how much storage they provide, they also enable a lot of hoarding. So I have a ton of junk in there that I really don't need. But that's a problem for another day. Now for the main monitor up top, we're rocking LG's 32-inch 4K dual mode OLED. Basically, you can run this monitor in two modes, 4K 240 Hz or 1080p 480 Hz. I'm gonna be honest, I found myself staying in the 4K 240 Hz mode pretty much all the time, even for gaming. Having the 480 Hz option is great, don't get me wrong, but honestly, I haven't found myself playing that many competitive esports games lately. I think mostly just due to time constraints and the fact that I'm 30 and washed up. But even when I was playing more competitive esports stuff, I found myself liking the 4K mode better than the 1080p anyway. I just couldn't get used to that lower resolution. Color accuracy wise for content creation, it's totally fine. I honestly grade most of my stuff with my studio display at my actual studio. I honestly wish the studio display was better for gaming because I would put one in the main setup. That's how much I like the display, but this one has been totally fine and a good middle ground in terms of gaming, but still being productive at the same time. Sitting underneath of that monitor is this little guy, the Corsair Xeneon Edge. I love this thing. It's a touchscreen. You can either put Corsair's widgets on it or use it as a secondary monitor, which is typically what I do. And it's just that perfect size where it's useful, but not big enough to put anything distracting on the screen, which is something I found myself having a big issue with dual screen monitors. So you can throw Discord or Spotify down here, for example, no problem, but it's just much less distracting and also takes up way less space than having two monitors on your desk. If you want to cleanly mount it though, it's still way too awkward in my opinion. You either need like a second monitor arm, which is a normal, but then you're incorporating a second monitor arm into the mix, or you need like some long small arm contraption where you're clamping it to your main monitor and then screwing it into the back of this monitor, and that's the best way to get it vertical. I'm just going to leave it sitting at the bottom of my desk. I think it looks fine. All right, so moving on, the keyboard, I'm using this GameCube controller keyboard. Okay, I'm totally kidding, but I do want to make this work as a real keyboard. Hear me out. There's like one dude on the internet right now that makes an adapter that actually lets you use the keyboard functionality with your computer. The issue with that is I feel like they only get restocked once a year, and it feels like there's only maybe 5 of them. It sucks because they're obviously extremely high quality and some of the best that you can get on the market, but they're also extremely hard to get. So I've kind of made it my own mini mission to try and make this keyboard work, making my own perhaps, but I'm using this video as a call for help. If you have any ideas, let me know. Okay, but for the real peripherals, you've probably noticed a little bit of a theme going on. The keyboard is a Dreamcast High Ground Summit, and the mouse pad is also a Dreamcast High Ground collab. I recently found a Dreamcast watch while I was in Japan, and just the story behind how I found it, mixed with what it means to me, fully inspired me to break these back out and put them on the desk. When I am actually gaming though, I do switch to one of two Wooting keyboards, the Optimum 60 AG or the new 60 HE V2 that has this split spacebar. Now I made a whole video on the Optimum Wooting HE. I love that keyboard, but the new 60 HE V2 with the split spacebar layout is super interesting to use. Basically with the split spacebar layout, you get an extra key for your thumb. So there are certain keys, for me that's like the 2 key or your reload key, where when you have to reach for it, you take your hand off your movement keys. But now instead of taking your hands off the movement keys, you could actually just rebind reload to that extra key next to the spacebar and easily hit it from there. It was a little bit awkward to get used to at first. You almost have to teach yourself to keep your thumb a bit more inward so that you're not hitting that new extra key. But the benefits that you gain far seem to outweigh that that short-term learning curve, in my opinion. Now, keeping that custom actuation point gaming theme going, I've actually been testing out a new mouse that I really like, the Logitech Pro X Super Shred. This mouse has quickly and shockingly become one of my favorites. Essentially, the way it works is it has this haptic inductive trigger system, or HITS, that allows you to fine-tune your click sensitivity. Without going into detail in this video, I think the tech behind it both is super cool, but also works extremely well. And honestly, I was very surprised at how much I enjoyed haptic feedback for clicks. Like the little vibration that you get from clicking now instead of just an actual mouse click is super satisfying. I'll be the first to admit though that it's kind of funny that I mentioned I don't really play that many competitive esports games anymore, and yet I have some of the most competitive hardware that you can get. Half the time I found myself just wanting to sit on the couch and play Xbox or Switch. But speaking of Switch and like Nintendo in general, I do have something on my desk that I truly love, and that is the GB Operator. I've talked about this thing a lot in short form videos at this point, but it's essentially this little device that lets you play your original Game Boy cartridges on your PC. That's really only scratching the surface, by the way. This thing is so capable for something so tiny. Pause. Okay, but I do think it's worth looking into if you're someone like me that likes gaming and has held on to your original cartridges. Plus, it takes up hardly any space on the desk, and it's really fun. The audio setup for this desk is very simple. I'm rocking a Shure SM7B going into the original Wave XLR. They actually just came out with the second one. The Shure SM7B is such an overkill mic at this point, especially with things like the Rode Pod mic existing, for example. I think that both looks better and is way cheaper, but I bought the SM7B back during my streaming days, and it was just so much money that I feel like I have to not have that just sit in a cabinet and collect dust, so it made it into the setup. Headphones are these Sony H9 IIs. I like them mostly because they are comfortable, lightweight, they have a wireless option, good noise cancellation, and fun fact, they actually use the same 30mm drivers as the Sony XM6s, but they sound pretty different. They're tuned much more for gaming than just like casual listening, which is a good thing. I do have a lot of cameras at this setup, but I like to keep the Leicas down on the main desk setup area, half for inspiration, half just because I have them and I like looking at them. This one is the Leica Q3. I actually brought this camera to Japan with me and took some of my favorite photos there. And then while I was in Japan, I also bought this Leica M3, which is just a film camera that I've always wanted. And obviously I use them, but I just like having them on the desk to look at too. You have this piece of history from the 50s and then a completely modern camera made by the exact same company sitting right next to it. You can see the similarities, the differences. Yeah, just brings me a lot of joy. Now, powering the entire setup mounted under the desk is my custom 5090 Mini ITX PC. One of the reasons I love mini PCs is because you can do stuff like this mounted directly under the desk. I'm just using 3 brackets here that I 3D printed. I ended up doing them in polycarbonate, so they're both heat resistant and extremely durable. But yeah, this thing has been an absolute tank of a PC. It handles pretty much everything that I throw at it, and really hoping it lasts me a long time because PC building is looking pretty dark right now. Also, if you're curious about the specs of that build, I made a whole YouTube video on that alone, so you can find that on my channel. For cable management next to it, I'm using the Human Scale NeatTech Mini. It clips on and off, and it keeps things looking pretty clean, even though underneath of it is an absolute disaster. Was it worth what I paid for it? I would say probably not. I kind of think it's overpriced, but I couldn't find anything else that mounts under the desk like this. Every other similar style cable organizer actually clipped onto the back of the desk, which I didn't like the look of. So I ended up biting the bullet and getting this one, and I'm hoping it lasts a long time. Now, really quick, the chair is a Herman Miller Embody chair. I've had this chair for 5 years and it's been absolutely incredible. That was one of those purchases that really hurt to make when I made it, yet I've never ended up regretting it. I feel like if you're gonna invest money in one part of your setup, it should probably be the thing that your back is pressed up against for 8 hours a day. Not the sexiest part of the desk tour, but probably one of the most important. Moving back up to the desk and to the left of my monitors now, we have the Bambu Lab A1 Mini. For those that don't know, this is just a small but very capable 3D printer. I have a lot of my larger printers at the studio, but I found myself wanting to be able to print things quickly at home, like if I was modeling something and just wanted to do some quick tolerance testing or things like that. So I ended up adding the small one to my setup, and honestly, just outside of the practical benefits of having a 3D printer at home, I think this thing just looks sick in the setup. I printed out these cool little cable covers for it. I ended up adding a top handle as well. But I do want to make an important note. I actually don't run the 3D printer when I'm sitting at the desk. I do have it next to a sliding door here so I can get proper ventilation when I am printing something, but I don't really want to be sitting at the desk and inhaling those fumes. So I have it here so I can run it and like go about my day or do things like around the house, but I'm never actually printing something and just sitting right next to it, and I don't really recommend that either. And then next to it, I have this little mushroom lamp, half because it's actually practical and half just for the vibes because I hate overhead lighting. Now above that, we have the classic IKEA pegboard. And I think where I've landed with pegboards is they can actually be cool in the setup if you put some thought into them. This is where I keep my keyboards, for example, or just random stuff that I want easy access to. And I also have this little F1 car racing towards some Mario coins that I 3D printed because I feel like every setup should have some fun elements to it. Not everything has to be practical all the time. Next to it, I have this artwork from this company, Tens, Hundreds, Thousands, and I like it both because it's aesthetically pleasing if you're just looking at it, but it also has a little bit of a secret meaning. This is actually, if you look closely enough, the journey of a coffee bean. So I'm super into coffee, and the idea behind the artwork is just that your everyday brew goes through quite the transformation before it actually ever hits your mug, and this is just a fun way to represent that. And then the shelf, it's just a simple shelf, again, from IKEA. I think this does a good job of accomplishing a little bit more vertical presence without something like more artwork above the desk, for example. And if you look closely, you'll just find more of my favorite stuff. A couple more of my cameras. There's a Kendrick album from my buddy Seth, a film tin my sister gave me, some books that I like to grab when I need inspiration. Nothing that I use every day, but just things that make me feel inspired or happy when I look up from my screen. I've thought about it, and I think the reason that I love this setup so much is that it's not trying to be anything specific anymore. It's not trying to be a productivity setup or a gaming setup or a comp setup. Don't even get me started on those. Put up some artwork. Like, what are we doing here? No personality at all. Sorry, I don't know what came over me there. Anyway, if you sat down at my desk, I think you'd quickly learn about the type of person that I am. And that's kind of my whole point. I'd like to challenge you to think of your desk not just as a place to work or game, but also as an expression of who you are. What's going to bring you joy and inspire you when you sit down versus dread the work that you might be about to do. Anyway, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you soon.